How can somebody stop feeling the emotions that one is feeling currently and be free of misery and sorrow and pain? This technique that I'm going to share with you, if practiced well and consistently enough, can significantly and dramatically help you improve your ability of dealing with difficult times, difficult emotions, and especially when you feel like you're stuck in a box or you're stuck in a rut. The entire practice of yoga and vipassana is about learning the skill of mindfulness. Now, the word mindfulness literally means rooting yourself mindfully in the current present moment. And a lot of our misery and sorrow comes from the affliction or the temptation to go to thoughts which are from our past or to fantasize about that which has not happened in the future. Very rarely are we really with samatha or equanimity in the current present moment. And Gautam Buddha has said, Attahi attano natho. You are your only refuge. But what is the refuge for you? Your breath. As long as you're a human being, this will apply to you, and this skill will dramatically improve your life. The one thing which is universal to all human beings, actually all living animals, is the breath. It is not something that you can consciously start, initiate, or pause. Breath is the essence of prana, the life force that exists in the universe, in nature, all around us. And breath is truth. You're not imagining that you're breathing. In fact, if you're not breathing, that is literally the end of life as we know it in all living animals. So it's absolute, pure, unbiased, 100% objective truth. Now in pranayama, we learn the art of monitoring, regulating, and expanding the prana within your body. That involves regulation or alteration of natural, normal, organic breath. Incredible spiritual, emotional, physical benefits. But today we are not going to talk about pranayama. Today we are going to talk about the beautiful mindfulness technique written in multiple scriptures that talk about Buddha's teachings, and also is the bedrock and base of what is called Anapana meditation as taught by S.N. Goenka ji in the Vipassana courses across the world. But we are not getting you to do Anapana just yet. For that, please go to YouTube, type S.N. Goenka Anapana meditation, and you will hear his discourses or his audio or video instructions on how exactly to practice that. What I'm sharing with you is a personal practice which is a derivative of Anapana practice that I have done with myself over the last 15-20 years. Most times we are not even aware of our breath because our mind is afflicted with thoughts of the past or thoughts of the future or whatever else that we may be doing in the current present moment. Now, any situation where you feel emotionally, physically overwhelmed, here's what I would recommend you to do. And this is advisable to do with your eyes open. Let's say you're sitting somewhere in office or in a cafe with your friends, and any interaction happens which is not making you feel very good. Let's say colleagues or bosses being unreasonable, and that is generating a lot of frustration or anger within you. Or you're sitting with your friends and they are doing something because of which you're feeling irritated. In that very moment, I want you to take refuge of your breath. And because you do not need to be closing your eyes to be aware and mindful of your breath, which is why this is a powerful skill. You can do this with your eyes open, contextually and spatially aware of where you are without really detaching or removing yourself from that particular scenario or situation. So let's say an engagement or an interaction, chat is happening with a friend or a group of friends where they're saying something which is really riling you up, irritating you, and they're enjoying that. Here's what I do. I continue to from the outward side, I continue to engage with them, correct? And that may be in the form of non-verbal cues as nodding or just listening intently. And my mind is focused over here. Specifically, the triangle over here. The triangle from the tip of the nose over here to your upper lip. The boundary of your upper lip, that is the boundary, the base of the triangle. The bridge here, the nali as it is said, the groove on your upper lip touching your nostril over here. I bring my attention over here because this is where I will feel a physical sensation of air entering my nostrils and the nasal passage and warm air exhaling from the nostrils. When the air exhales or leaves the nostrils, I feel it on this surface, which is the upper lip and the groove over here. When I'm inhaling, I will feel air molecules, particles brush against the walls of my nostril. This simple technique is a powerhouse. It does multiple things. Number one, your mind requires fodder. Currently, the only fodder is your friends and their words which are irritating you. So you're shifting your mind to a certain fodder which does not generate anxiety, irritation, frustration, or any other negative emotions that you do not want to feel. That's number one. Number two, we've established that breath is real. Breath is reality. It is not imaginary. Because whatever words are falling on your conscious mind, on your ears, you are processing them in a certain way, and sure, they may be hurtful, but we make them extra hurtful and extra negative because of our own afflictions, defilements, and cognitive processing, because there could be context over there. Maybe you've heard that word spoken in some other context. Maybe it triggers a childhood memory or trauma of it. So your reaction could really be a compounding of the stimuli that you're receiving plus all the other context that is adding to that particular stimuli and making it a huge volcano that is just going to erupt. So the breath takes your attention away from the current surge of emotions that you're feeling, mostly negative emotions. And this can also be used for hugely positive emotions where people get overwhelmed, cannot stop crying because, oh my God, khushi ke aansu, etc. Bringing your conscious mind to this region, to the breath, to the physical sensation of the breath, and then merely observing breath is coming in, breath is going out, breath is coming in, breath is going out. And with this, the mental affirmation or the auto-suggestion or conversation that even this shall pass. Because as Gautam Buddha has said, everything is temporary. And it's not because Gautam Buddha said it, everything is temporary. Psychologically, scientifically, physiologically, everything is temporary. Anything that is born is going to die. So when you keep doing this practice again and again, this involves work at two levels. At the physical level, you are focusing on the physical sensation of breath coming in, breath going out. At the psychological and emotional level, you're bringing your conscious mind and your cognition to observing this work right now rather than rolling in the mud with the negative emotions that are being triggered through the words or the situations or people in front of you. Just like any other skill, you only keep getting good at it if you keep practicing it. If you do it once a while, you may have very marginal benefit. But if you keep doing it consistently and it becomes second nature, then you will find that the next time you are in an untoward situation where your negative emotions are really getting triggered and activated and they're beginning to take over your entire mind and body, you instantly remember it's time for a mindful moment. You bring your focus and your mind's eye and attention to this triangle over here. You're noticing inhalation and exhalation and the physical sensation of air entering your nostril and exiting your nostril and feeling it on the upper lip and on the doors of your nostril and your nose. And mentally, you're speaking of or vocalizing in your mind's eye an affirmation, this present moment, I'm getting irritated. This present moment, I'm feeling agitated. This present moment, I'm feeling overwhelmed. This present moment, I'm overcome by passionate, lustful thoughts. This present moment, I'm overcome by crippling, debilitating fear. This present moment, I'm overcome by any extreme emotion, you can name it. When you call it out and you bring your focus to your breath, I have personally experienced this over decades in my own life. The reaction time that it takes for you to come back to your present equilibrium and not have a volcanic eruption of emotions or words with the person in front, that comes down significantly. The ability for you to reach equilibrium or maintain a state of equilibrium is something that you will be able to achieve. And I'm not talking about fake equilibrium, where you're acting and not showing your true emotions to someone. You're like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to physically act out here. But inside, you're still burning with all the stimuli and all the negativity and emotions. This works physically and discreetly in your mind at the mental level as well. This is a framework that I've personally benefited from immensely. I've used this, like I said, for 15, 20 years in my life. And it's always a work in progress. It's always how can I get better at deploying this mindful moment exercise and applying the learnings from it. And just like any skill, at some point, it should become so natural and organic that without you realizing, because you've put your mind into that practice so many times, the minute you feel or your conscious mind feels a negative or a strong emotion, you should automatically, organically slip into the mindful moment practice, which is why practice makes perfect. So you have to keep trying this. Anybody who practices yoga, who practices vipassana, does a practice which is rooted in reality and not mythology, can really experience these blissful states of equanimity. And like it or not, the true definition of happiness is exactly this: the ability to stay equanimous, rooted in reality, in the present moment, is the only real definition of happiness. So I really hope that you manage to practice this, that you manage to advance on your own path of self-discovery, self-betterment, self-improvement with the help of truth and reality. Thank you so much for watching this. Have a beautiful day.